Hello and welcome to the first ever weekly knit chit chat. I don't really know what I'm doing, but that's okay. I don't ever know what I'm doing. And these weekly knit chit chats are really just a way for me to try to connect. And I'm excited there's already folks hopping on. Hello everyone. Let me know what you're working on. We're just kind of hanging out and chatting and talking knitting and whatever. I kind of have some things to talk about, but this is supposed to be pretty informal. So, what are you knitting on right now? For anybody who's maybe new around here, doesn't know who I am Jessica. I'm the knitting pattern designer behind Snickerdoodle Knits, and I also mentor designers. I have the design circle, and I do way too many whips. What's the one you've worked on most recently, Queen Bee? So yeah, I help designers through the design circle, through one-on-one coaching, things like that. And yeah, that's me. So I just kind of wanted to start this weekly knit chit chat as a way to kind of connect more one-on-one. I wish there was a way I could see you here, but this is what we have for now. So thanks for hopping on. This is my current whip that I'm working on for myself. If you saw my Instagram post, I don't even remember when it was, whenever I got around to posting it last week, maybe this week. This is what I had planned to work on for Thanksgiving break and then Christmas break, and I didn't get a whole lot of knitting done. So this is the Maema Cardigan by Pip Pin. I have the pattern here, but I don't have a photo of what the cardigan looks like. But something that I realized last year is I don't wear my knits as often as I would like to. And a lot of that's because a lot of them are shawls, of course. And like my early ones are super bulky knits, and with working from home and then pandemic and everything, it's like I'm not really going out. I don't have a whole lot of reason to kind of dress up. So I really want more cardigans, and I want more pullovers and socks, things that are really super cozy, because that's kind of what I always wear. I'm trying to finish a rose cardigan for a sample that should have been done a year ago. Oh, TLC knits. I can relate. I feel so terrible about it, but the yarn dyer has been so amazing about it. I had a design that I was supposed to have out last March or April, a shawl design, and I was totally in love with the idea, but once I started working on it, I realized that for the construction method, the motif would be completely upside down, and there's no way to reverse it because it's like a lacy, it kind of uses a feather and fan kind of idea, and you can't flip it. And so I got so frustrated with it, and the yarn dyer has been so sweet about it. I'm still going to do it. I still have to figure out all of the logistics of it, but yes, I know how things can get delayed, and you know what, that's okay. If there's some things that have to be done on time, but sometimes we just have to give ourselves grace. The name of this pattern is Maema, M-A-E-M-A cardigan, by Pip Pin. I don't know if you can see that. There's also at Pip Pin down here. Try not to show off the pattern, but yeah, that's that pattern. What the Fade, Auntie's Cowl, and Liminal Shawl. I know what the Fade is, but I don't know if I'm familiar with either of the others. What colors are you guys working with too? I love color. I love talking about color. Even though if you saw my stories the other day where I also love gray, and I was talking about how I should just do everything in gray and black and white, and not everybody loved that idea. But this is like a really deep purple. This is Malabrigo yarn, and I'm in love with it. I love kind of the deeper color, so it feels like it's almost like a neutral, but it's still purple. And then it's got like a texture on the sides that are going to be like the front panels, and then this is the back here. But then there's also some just stockinette here. A lot of pinks, which I really love. That's fun. I find it really interesting the way that I'm attracted to different yarns versus what I actually use and wear. I love pinks. I love the look of them. I used to always say pink and purple were my favorite colors. Now I tend to go more teal, turquoise, purple, deep purple. But I find that when I'm looking at yarns, I am really attracted to the ones that are so pretty and bright and colorful and lots of speckles or just lots of color in general. And that's not what I wear at all. So I'm trying to knit more of what I actually enjoy wearing that maybe is more my personality, but I do appreciate pinks. Yeah, so I guess I could also share some of my other whips, or actually they're not even whips yet, they're just, I have the yarn for them. These were my other vacation knits that never happened. So here we have, I have 2 other skeins of this. These are all Bumblebee Acres Farm yarns. I went to my first fiber festival last fall, so well, first like really big one, where there were lots and lots of yarn dyers and stuff, and got this yarn, and I'm going to make a Mrs. RM's hoodie, I think, by Modesty by Laura. So this will be the main color. I have 2 skeins caked up here. And then I'm thinking, it has like a hood and everything, it's super cute. I'm thinking I'll do stripes of this like towards the bottom of the body somehow. I think that'll be really fun. It is all garter. So we will see. I'm starting to kind of question the fact that I did fingering weight sweaters with a lot of garter, because I kind of get bored with garter. I just need to have like things, maybe this will work really well for it, doing these lives, because I have a hard time, if I don't have something else to keep my mind going, I get really bored with garter. But I love wearing garter, so that is my dilemma. And here is a gray. This is from Yarn Habits, and I want to do the Herleen socks by Salt and Stone Knits. Hi, Jill loves to knit. I'm kind of just talking about my projects right now. What are you working on, Jill? Yeah, and then I have some Patton's Croix sock yarn that I'm sure was gifted a while back. I don't really remember where it came from. For a pair of socks of some sort. I'm not really sure. So those are my ambitious projects for the holidays. 2 sweaters, 2 pairs of socks, and this was the sum of my actual knitting minus like 8 rows that I did last night on a Zoom call. But you know, something I've been thinking a lot about lately is that like none of this is a race. It doesn't matter how long it takes us. Even like thinking about business stuff, it's really easy to like feel like we need to hurry up and get all this stuff done, and like then we'd make more money, and then we'd be able to share more stuff, and then blah 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 blah. But really, like a lot of times it just leads to burnout and stress, and is it really worth it? And does it actually make anything better? So, you know, I'm just trying to take life at the pace that's right for me. That's kind of one of my goals for 2022, is not to pressure myself into do anything too fast, too quickly. Just kind of pay attention to what feels right for me. Do you feel pressured to knit fast or get lots of projects done? Because I know sometimes it's easy, like on Instagram, to see what everybody's making, and it can sometimes feel like, you know, like I'm not making fast enough. Jill is working on a tea cozy. That is fun. What kind of yarn are you using? I made tea cozies. So before I started designing, I had an Etsy shop for 6 months, I think. That's how Snickerdoodle Knits started. And I had some tea cozies that I made. But yeah. So I guess we could chat about what I've been working on this week. I've been trying to decide if I should like share daily, like what I'm working on, or weekly or whatever, just behind the scenes. I don't know if that's of interest to anybody, but this week it's been a lot of admin stuff, but it's also been exciting admin stuff. I've been reaching out to a bunch of guest speakers for both the design circle, and I'm going to start doing a monthly Instagram live with guests. So I'm planning to bring on another designer, like a fellow designer, every month to introduce them to you. And they will talk about their design journey. They'll talk about what kind of patterns they make. And it's just kind of another just hang out and chat and connect. One of the big things that I really want in 2022 is to do more connecting, intentional connecting. I find it's really easy for me to get my, kind of just get into the zone of work and just have my head down and not really connect the way I want to. So, yeah, I've been reaching out to lots of guests and I'm excited. I've gotten a few responses, and one for sure that we have, I'm glad you think it's fun. One for sure that I have for Instagram lives for guest designers is Hannibal Knits. That will be this month. So January 27th, I think it is. It's a Thursday, the end of the month, at 4 p.m. So the same time as this chat. So that will be the first guest. And then I've had 2 other designers respond and say that they're excited about it and interested. We haven't settled on a date just yet, but that is Carol with KC Knitting Co. and Mika, I think, with Salt and Stone Knits. She's the one that I had said I wanted to make socks. I should have brought like photos of all the things that I want to make. That would, obviously I'm not a podcaster. I would have things figured out. See ya, Jill. Thanks for joining. I think I'm going to share the lives too, just because I guess I can, in case anybody finds it interesting. But yeah, thanks for joining. So yeah, the Salt and Stone socks, the Herleen socks, they have like some ribbing in this around the center of the foot. They're shorty socks. I love shorty socks. And anyway, it just totally looks like the kind of socks that I would wear. So I'm excited to work on those. And now hopefully have her on. So there was some other stuff up here. Jill had said that she's just using spare DK for her tea cozy. I love DK. So the mystery knit along that I designed for next month for Tippy Tree Yarns, it uses DK, and I started working with it and I'm like, why do I have all these fingering weight projects? All my personal projects are fingering weight. I love DK. And so I was really tempted to say I'm only ever going to work in DK ever again, but I love DK. That's my rant on DK. Christy, Christy Lee. I guess I assumed that your name was Christy, but Christy Lee, thank you so much. That's so sweet. That means a lot. She said you're an inspiration. I saw your email today. So so that's another thing I've been thinking a lot about is my passion. So I sent out an email to both my knitter segment and my designer segment. Of course, it was a little bit more specific to the audience, but both were about paying attention to your passion. So is what you're doing, whether that's your knitting, your designing, even things outside of this industry, are those things bringing you joy? Is it actually your passion? Or are you doing it because you feel like you have to do it? Are these projects you're doing because everybody else is doing it and you feel like you need to do it to fit in? Or, like, it looks really cool, other people are doing it, so you kind of get sucked up into that even though it's not something you're interested in. and something that doesn't actually bring you joy. So something that I realized last year that was like a huge like epiphany for me is that I absolutely adore working with designers. I love working with them, helping them, chatting with them, talking about the ups and the downs, and helping them just kind of nail down what they want for their business and giving them any help I can give them. It's just something that I love. And I you know, like I would talk to lots of other designers and then DMs before, and finally realized it was something I'm really passionate about. And so I was like realizing that that's something I'm so passionate about. It's like I want to do more of that. And I want to take out more of the things that I'm not passionate about. So that's what the email was about. Yeah, I think it's important to, it can be hard to figure out what you're passionate about. It can be a lot of trial and error, but especially in terms like our knitting and stuff. We probably started it because we enjoyed it, really enjoyed the making and, you know, the wearing the projects and things like that. So I think it's important to remember why we do what we do, whatever it is. And so if it's because you knit because the comfort of it, or because the simplicity of it, or something to do while you're watching TV, it doesn't make sense to work on projects that are extremely complicated and you're not going to love. Of course, there's always the whole dichotomy of what if what I like to make isn't what I like to wear. But that was kind of the idea of that. TLC Knits asked what state I'm in. I live in North Carolina now. I grew up in Montana, so a little bit different climate, but supposedly this weekend we're supposed to get snow. Here I'm in Charlotte area, we're supposed to get like 2 to 4 inches of snow, and we've seen snow in the sky twice since we moved here. We've been here 2.5 years. One time it was like falling a little bit, but like it totally melted as soon as it hit the ground, so it didn't even cover the grass. And the other time it like just barely sprinkled the grass. Like it was just like, I don't think the grass was even completely white. So it'll be interesting. There's lots of talk about it, so hopefully everybody here is safe and does what they need to do. I know that when you're not used to driving in snow, it can be scary too. So anyway, I also, in case you're not familiar, I have collections that are of knitting patterns that are about Montana and North Carolina. So I have my Forever Home collection is about Montana, and it has 5 knitting patterns. They're actually like right in the closet right here, but I won't grab them. There's a shawl. It's called Wear the Buffalo Roam Shawl. It's cables, and you can do a bunch of fringe on the bottom, and DK weight. All of Montana collection is DK weight. Cozy Winter's Cowl is like, I call it a faded texture. Basically, there's a lot more purling at the bottom, and you have less and less as you go up. So it's different sections that are all named after kinds of snowstorms. So blizzards and whiteout and just flurries and things like that. But it's a really fun knit. Like, it's pretty simple. It's constantly changing, but it's simple, and I think it's a lot of fun. And it has 3 sizes. I don't remember for sure. Then there's the Weekends at the Cabin hat, which I have 2 different designs in that has like a mountain motif or a tree motif that you can do. And that's in several different sizes. It uses slipped cross stitches, which if you've never done, I was very obsessed with them for a while. And I tried to like not do designs with them because I was using it so often and I just couldn't help it. So what a slipped cross stitch is it's basically like a cable, but you don't knit one of the 2 stitches that you're working with. And I feel like it's pretty easy to learn how to do without a cable needle. So like I have tutorials and stuff that show you that. Let's see, the other patterns. Oh, On the Farm Fingerless mitts. They're inspired by like the farmland, the rows of just like planted crops and stuff, and so like you see rows of green and then rows of dirt, you know, between it. So it's a color work, but a very simple color work fingerless mitts pattern. And the last design I'm going to not think of course. It's not socks, I know that. If anyone remembers for me. Yes. Anyway, and then the North Carolina collection is all fingering weight. It's all based on everything that I love about here. Well, and just like in general, what I associate with North Carolina. So the autumnal socks have like it's not a cable, but it kind of looks like a cable motif. The leaf that runs up from the toe up the leg, but it's like off-centered. It's not in the center. So on one foot, it's on the outside of both feet. And then inside it has the slipped cross stitches for the trees. And then the Endless Woods cowl which actually is worked with fingering and mohair. It's so cozy. But it uses cables for roots at the bottom of the cowl, and then it uses slipped cross stitches for trees at the top of the cowl. And then I have the Along the Shore mitts, which are inspired by the ocean, because here in North Carolina, we have the ocean on one side of us, and we have mountains on the other side of us, which is kind of neat. Not quite like the mountains in Montana, but they're still beautiful. So Along the Shore mitts, it has like a pearled wave texture, and then it has a herringbone cuff. I also have instructions in there for a ribbed cuff if you don't like the herringbone, but I love the herringbone look. And then there's a hat, the Hustle and Bustle hat, which is basically just kind of random pearl textures. It's supposed to be like here we were living in the city of Charlotte, now we're out in a suburb area, but just like the hustle and bustle and randomness of living in a larger city, but realizing that actually it's not random. There is repeats in there, and in real life, you know, everybody has a destination. They're going somewhere, doing something, so it's not random chaos. But that's my whole tangent on Montana and North Carolina. Where are you from, TLC Knits, and everybody else that's on? Hello, Beth. I definitely got off on some tangents and didn't see things coming in. So, Christy Lee says knitting is very meditative. Yes, I think especially when you're doing simple knits. And so that's why I also think that it's really like really important to know what knitting means for you. Like if you want your knitting to be meditative, don't do knits that aren't meditative, especially if what you're needing right now is meditative knitting. That's nothing. We get 10 to 12 inches. Yes, I understand. I'm from Montana, and I lived in Laramie, Wyoming for college, which had even worse snow than we had growing up in Billings. But yeah, I'm not worried about the snow. I'm more worried about the people who are scared about the snow. I would love to see the knits. They're like in tubs. I don't know how long it would take me. Going to the mountains, Poncho. Thank you, Sharon. That was my other Montana pattern. It's a poncho, and it uses color work as well as the slipped cross stitches. So it has like color work at the top that's like just one by one color work that's supposed to be like you're walking up the trails up the mountain, and then color work that's like the snow falling, and then slipped cross stitches are the mountains, and then at the bottom is again color work for the snow, and then the dirty trails, because like what I used for my colors, I used brown for like the dirt and the mud, and then I used a white or cream with blue and green speckles for like the snow and all the greenery and stuff like that. So that's first Christy Lee said she's in Olympia. That is fun. Is Olympia where the Nike outlet store is? My spouse, he's from Oregon. He grew up in Portland area, and my cousins and brother and I, sometimes we would go on road trips to Oregon, and we'd always have to stop at the Nike outlet store for the guys. Beth says we have lake effect snow here in Cleveland. TLC knits. I have lived in Connecticut for 6 years now. I was born and raised in sunny South California. Finally got out of there. What do you think of the weather difference now, TLC knits? Because that's like the opposite change that I had. I love not having freezing cold winters. And I feel like that's terrible to say as a knitter, and then even more so as a designer, but I like my warm weather and my sun. So are you enjoying Connecticut? We actually have my husband's aunt and uncle, they live in Connecticut, and so I've been there once, but you love it. That's good. That's good. I'll let you keep it. That is the really hard part about living here, is all of our family is either in Montana or Oregon pretty much. I have a brother-in-law in Idaho, but they're all on the West Coast. But the thing is, like, we love the weather here, and if we wanted to go back west and still have this weather, it's like we'd have to be in like Arizona or California or something. And just not something that we're in for right now. The weather was so boring in California. I love the season. That's true. We have seasons here, at least. Like the fall is gorgeous here. I love that part. But we're not in the negative digits for the whole winter, so that's really nice. What brought us to North Carolina was my husband's work. After he graduated, we were not looking at North Carolina at all. We were mostly looking at like Washington, Colorado, but he had applied for a job in San Francisco, not really planning to go to San Francisco, but looking for opportunities. And so when they gave him the job offer, he asked where else he could go instead. And this is where they sent us, and it was something we couldn't resist. So yes. Ruth had said something. I'm not scared of snow, but we're prepping for ice and powder outages just in case. Yes. We just had, I think it was just wind a couple of weeks ago, in the middle of the night, and we were out of power for several hours. I guess like 6 hours or something. And we've heard rumors of problems with freezing rain around here causing ice problems, and I'm not as used to ice because I'm used to snow. So TLC knits, you have 17 grandchildren and all but 3 live in California. That's hard. Where are the other 3? Are they closer to you? Because that's the other side of the country. For anybody else new hopping on, you can share what you're knitting on. I already talked all about it, but this is my Maema cardigan. Let's see if I had anything else to share. And if there's anything else you want to chat about, of course, let's chat about it. The idea is just, this is a hangout and knit and chat, and just wishing that we were sitting in the living room next to each other with our knitting. Oh, I didn't mention design circle guests. So you're knitting a bulky skirt. Oh yes, Ruth. Okay. I should finish reading out your comment. She says, I'm knitting a bulky scrappy pullover. It's my reward for finishing socks. And I'm totally in love with the pictures you're sharing of this bulky scrappy pullover. There's like bright, fun colors, and I'm totally in love with it, and it's gonna be like so cozy. I haven't even seen like the whole picture of how it's going. I just keep seeing these zoomed in parts, and I'm obsessed with the yarn. So yes, that is so fun. And Lucy is knitting DK socks. That is fun as well. So I've only knit 2 pairs of socks. One pair of socks I held fingering double, so basically DK, slipper socks. Super cozy, a bit too big, but they work really well when I have other socks inside of them. And my sister loved them so much, she kind of just like stole them for the 4 weeks she was here. But DK socks, I think I could easily be very obsessed with. If you didn't see my blog post back during the indie gift along, I went through and found a whole bunch of DK. Well, I guess I didn't find that many DK socks because I was looking for shorty socks. But I have sport weight, DK weight, and fingering weight. I think is what I ended up with in the blog post. It was all featuring indie gift along designers, but you might want to check that out if you love socks. And that's just on my blog. So I think in my bio link afterwards, if you like go into my Instagram profile and you click the link, I think I have a link to my blog there. Okay, Beth says, woo, DC guest, Design Circle guest. Getting me back on track. So I guess I could check my email, but I haven't gotten any contracts back yet for 100% certain, but folks have said yes and given me how much they're going to charge. So I think it's safe to say I don't have dates yet. But I have 3 people that I think I can share. One of them is Rachel from She's Making an Impact. She is, she talks all about Pinterest stuff, and I've been following her for probably most of the time I've been running my business. So she's one guest. Summer Lee Knits is a knitting pattern designer who designs lots of socks, bright colors, fun stuff. So she'll be another guest. And then Gay Glaspie of Gigi Made It is, if you don't know Gigi Made It, like you're welcome to leave this live to go check her out. Like I love Gigi. Story. If you don't know me yet, I love going on story tangents. So this is probably the way these knit chit chats are gonna go. And I have to say thank you for you guys all talking to me, because that makes it easy for me to go on my story tangents. But Gigi, when I first saw her profile, people were sharing about her and stuff, I think I was pretty new to the knitting community. Online. I first saw her stuff, I went onto her profile, and it's all this orange stuff, and I'm like, orange isn't really my thing, this feels a little bit overwhelming. I didn't follow her. And then, over the next few months or whatever, I saw more people just sharing her content and their stories and stuff, started listening to her, and I fell in love with her. So I love, she's so authentic and sweet and kind and genuine, and she's done some designing. She, I guess, is an influencer. I don't really know how you get that title, but I think in her bio she calls herself a thought influencer. She sends out weekly emails, and it's just these really sweet motivational kind of thoughts and stuff. Simple but really helpful and inspiring. And then she has different yarn dyers have created orange yarns in her name and stuff, and so it's really neat. I like Gay. I like Gigi. Yes, so that is, I think those are the only 3 that I can sort of share, and hopefully nothing falls through now, but I'm excited. We have lots of guest speakers coming up. Christy Lee is knitting with Noro, the old Shawl Cowl. I'm familiar with Noro, but I'm not familiar with the old Shawl Cowl. I wish there was a way that we could share links and pull that up and stuff while we were chatting, but the Banana Puss is also knitting DK socks. That is so fun. You guys need to can you send me your pictures of your DK socks? Whether it's right now when it's in progress or when they're finished, because that makes me so excited. I love DK, and I love cozy socks. Ruth, back to her pullover. I'm pretty sure it's because I love the texture and color blends so much. DK socks are also her latest obsession. I love them. We need to have a DK sock party. The problem is I have cardigan on my needles now. And I have other designs to work on and stuff, but I might have to keep that in the back of my head. Also, another tangent. I am such a loose knitter that working on fingering weight, I have to use a lot smaller needles than a lot of people. So my normal sock needle is a 000, which is the smallest needle you can buy. And so that's what I'm using for this cardigan. And I think that's part of what kind of is like, I guess, annoying about fingering weight for me. It's funny, I don't hate fingering weight. I've done lots of projects in fingering weight, but after working in DK, it's just like, feels so tiny. TLC Next was talking about her grandchildren that live only 50 minutes away. I'm glad they're close. Her older son lives in Stratford, and that's why you ended up there. You have relatives in North Carolina that you'd end up there, but it's nice to have somebody nearby. That's fun. If you're ever in North Carolina and we don't have a pandemic, let me know. DK weight socks knit up so quickly. Yes. Apologies for all the exclamations. Don't worry about exclamations. I love exclamations. Exclamations are more than invited and welcome here. Beth said, wait, I love her socks. I'm guessing that is about summerly knits. I'm sorry that I'm not actually seeing your comments as they come in because I have it just stopped at my last comment I read. But I'm guessing that's who you're talking about. I'm commenting while I write my pattern release. What does NL stand for? Sorry for my ignorance, but just out of curiosity. That's Ruth. It's okay. DK socks are fast. You can use them as a cardigan break. Yeah. Because I need all the excuses to get distracted. And the other thing is with personal knitting, I'm terrible about making time for personal knitting. I'm pretty sure this is the first project I worked on for myself last year, and I started it in November. Newsletter. Okay, you're working on your pattern release newsletter. That's fun. Ruth Brush is no worries. I'm just, I'm old school and I don't know all of the cool kid lingo. So Ruth Brush is a fellow designer. So she was saying that she is working on her pattern release newsletter. Which design is that for, Ruth? So if you want to check her out, you can. But yes, what I was talking about was that I'm terrible about personal knitting time. And part of that is, in general, I haven't always been so good about taking time for myself. I've been doing better about that. But the other thing is I realized when I do take time for myself, I don't always want to knit. And so I honor that. I like to get out and enjoy nature and things like that. And do other things. Sometimes I just want to sit and do nothing. And that's something I've been really appreciating lately. Also, something I've been loving, I'm weirdly obsessed with, is coloring. Is there anybody else here who loves coloring? So I've had a coloring book that I got several years ago. And the idea is if kids ever come visit, I have a coloring book for them, but then I can also color in it. And I never really did anything with it. I when we'd have kids over, I'd color in it with them. But just this last break, I took it out and was obsessively coloring. And then my sister was here and she had some markers. And so I was using markers and I'm I love this so much. And so I bought myself some markers. So coloring is my thing right now for self-care time. Which reminds me, do you know Hand Knit by Cam? She's another designer. I think she mostly does socks, but she also has shawls and stuff. But anyway, she does self-care knitting every Friday. So she's big on not calling it selfish knitting, but calling it self-care knitting, which I love. Oh, no, I didn't. Sorry, I was swiping up and I almost blocked somebody and I did not mean to do that. So I hope that didn't happen. Beth says, I don't make time for personal crocheting because honestly the writing is my favorite part. Making it is a necessary part of being able to write it though. Yes, that's true. I do really love designing. But there are sometimes just some things that I don't know, it's a lot more mindless to work on an existing design. but also they're just designs that I love from other people, and so sometimes I'm like, I need to quit designing so I can knit everybody else's designs. Like from the indie gift along, when I was going through stuff, I was familiar with Alicia Plummer. Like I knew who she was. I'd seen her stuff. I'd heard people talk about her and share her stuff. But like as I was going through patterns and stuff, I'm like, ooh, I'm obsessed with her designs. I could knit lots of this stuff and just not be a designer anymore. But we were talking about passion earlier, and I am also very passionate about designing. I really love the process. So Ruth's New Design is the Stormlight socks. They're just out today. Ruth was telling Beth, I tricked myself into thinking it's a personal project and then I write it out. Yes, that sounds right. What I'm trying to do more with my designing is not just create things that I think are fun or cute or neat ideas, but design stuff that I actually want to knit. And yes, that's what I'm trying to do more of. So then it's like, it's definitely for me, I'm going to use it and wear it a lot and make it in colors that I enjoy. So I guess then maybe it's selfish, self-care and designing. I would totally love to make everything ever too, though. Yes. That's most of us makers, right? There's just so many cool things to make. I get lost on Ravelry, can't knit and scroll at the same time. Yes. Somebody else has said that they had found me from Discord. TLC Knits had said that. That is neat. Did you find me like from the Fasten Off along, or from how did you find me, I guess? Like, can you search on Discord? Just curious. Also, I got my one row done that was mostly just knitting, and now I have to look at my pattern again, and so that's why I'm just sitting here and not doing any knitting. Me too. My past couple patterns have been things I want to wear and use because I've given up on guessing what people want. Yeah, and for me, it wasn't even like I was trying to guess what people wanted. I was just like, I was so excited by these fun ideas that were like neat in my mind, and so I made them. And a lot of them do mean a lot to me. Like, they have a lot of meaning behind them. There's a reason I came up with the idea. Actually, I just posted right before this about the Endurance Shawl. It's part of the Guiding Principles collection with 4 shawls that each have a different meaning: hope, patience, trust, and endurance. But there's only 2 of them that I wear a ton. And so it's like, I've created a lot of designs that I really like and that are fun. They have meaning behind them, but they're not what I want to wear and use. So the last design that I did in December, which is currently in testing, tech editing, it's the Mystery Knit Along for Tippy Tree Yarns next month. That was one that was like, I'm just going to create something that I'm going to love to knit. And so it was a lot of fun. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Oh, you were looking at my Ravelry page and saw the link. Okay, that is fun. You might have said that before because somebody else started talking about Ravelry. I apologize if I missed that, but that's neat. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. This is our first time with a chit chat like this, so I hope you're enjoying it. Oh, what are your plans for the weekend? Does anybody have anything going on this weekend, or what did you do over the holidays? I basically said that I don't know what I did. Nothing. Eating. My sister did a lot of cooking, so I had to do a lot of cleaning up after her. But I realized I don't hate, like, normally I kind of hate doing the dishes, but I don't hate it when somebody else is doing the cooking. Like, I can deal with that. Life things. This is what happens when I decide to do a friend-to-friend chat and just talk about all of my opinions. It's rainy here in Alabama all weekend, so I'm knitting. Sounds great. We rearranged our whole upstairs the past weekend. This weekend I have to move the kids' clothes and things to their new room. That's fun. I think it's fun to rearrange things, change things up, just like have a little bit change of scenery and stuff. Yeah, that's fun. I hope you're enjoying the new change, and I hope you enjoy moving all this stuff and getting the kids' room together. Yeah, it's also a big chore changing things. And it's, at least for me, it's like I get close to the end and then it's like, I just want this to be over, because it's all the little things that are left that you don't know what to do with. TLC knits, there's a big storm expected, so staying put. Yes. How far? This is going to show how little I pay attention to life, but how far reaching is this big storm? Because it is supposed to be like huge in Europe and Connecticut, and I'm guessing the Alabama rain is related to all of this. Rearranging is so fun because it's a big change for very little cost, and it's an activity. Yes, so the rearranging thing, although I also want to buy something for it, is actually the little nook that I want to create for all of my Instagram lives and stuff, because I want to have a space that's easily already set up. Like, I have lights on right now so that I'm not like all dark and stuff. So I want to get like a chair, which I've been wanting this chair since, I'm pretty sure we moved to North Carolina 2.5 years ago. Anyway, I'm just like envisioning this whole little like setup, but I have to decide, do I want it? I'm here in my office right now, but that would mean that my lights are always set up. We also have like a general room that's like basically empty that I could set up in there. That's my project that I'm trying to decide on. Yes. Also, if you notice my pictures, that was my first use for my washi tape. If you've been around, you know that whole story. But these are pictures of our family. They're like 5.5 years old because they're from our wedding. But that's fun. I like having them up there because it's just a bit of me here in my office. Ruth is in central Pennsylvania and expecting 6 to 12 inches with possible ice. Expecting a huge storm here in Ohio. You should get some of it too. It's coming all the way up the coast. Yeah, we're supposed to. That's what our prediction of snow is for. And I know like western North Carolina is supposed to have lots of snow. I think closer to like the 10-inch mark in Asheville and stuff. There's a yarn shop there that they just changed over owners recently. Black Mountain Yarn Shop, and they were going to have a whole party this weekend, and that is getting canceled. But it sounds like this storm is like basically this whole half of the states, maybe third of the states. Rearranging, I've always allowed myself to buy one item after the stuff we have is rearranged. That's fun. Yeah, I guess I've done rearranging already because my office is also a guest bedroom. So there used to be a bed like right here. And we've moved the bed over, smushed it against the window. And so now I have this space here, and I took the Pavson chair from the main space, but I kind of want like a more comfortable, easy to sit up in. Although if I just spend the whole chit chat reading my phone, I guess this works fine. Hi to people that keep hopping on. I never really continued to explain what we're doing here, but this is just a weekly chit chat. Hoping to hop on every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, talk for about an hour, so we only have like 10 more minutes left. But I just gave all my opinions on life, and I don't think they're very controversial opinions, but I don't know that they're that exciting. But anyway, talking about projects, I've gotten 1 and maybe 1/10 of a row knit. Yeah. So what else has been going on? Does anybody else have any questions for me? Any other story tangents you want? I quite enjoy this. I don't know if I should be enjoying this as much as I am, but I really do appreciate you guys all being here. This is fun. I'm trying to figure out. All right. So what else has been happening here? This week. Oh, I was going to ask at the beginning of this call, I was going to ask if you could describe your week in 3 words. How would you describe your week? Like, what's been happening? Because I was talking about how I was doing a lot of admin stuff. Yesterday was a lot of calls. All the stories. Thank you. We can be besties now, okay? Yeah, so yesterday was a lot of calls. I had a design circle call. I had a one-on-one coaching call. Usually my coaching calls are helping designers with their, I love that TLC. Usually my coaching calls are helping designers with questions they have about designing or pattern writing or the process after they're done with the pattern or marketing, things like that. Yesterday was kind of fun because it was they're all fun. I love my one-on-one coaching calls. But yesterday was, somebody was asking about memberships and stuff. So that was fun to share a lot of what I've learned through the couple different memberships that I've had started. Hi, Megan. It's fun to see you here. So Pip Pin just joined. If she's still on and hasn't left, I'm knitting your Maema cardigan in Malabrigo, and I haven't made a lot of progress, but I'm loving it, and I'm really excited for when it's done. Hi! So, yes. So yeah, I was saying yesterday I had a lot of calls. Then I hopped on a webinar, just like somebody else's webinar, and then I had a call with somebody else. So yesterday it just felt like a ton of calls. So the 3 words that I had come up with, TLC said her 3 words for the week were knit, eat, sleep. If anybody else has 3 words to describe your week, whether that's like a positive excitement that you're excited about the week, or maybe a little bit of negativity you want to release about the week, what are the 3 words you would describe your week as? I had written down long, exciting, and exhausting. It was like my sister was here, she'd been sick, and she just left yesterday morning, and of course then it was like sad because she was leaving, and like my family's so far away. So yeah, it's been a really fun, exciting week because I enjoy chatting with people like on the all the calls yesterday, and then all the guest speakers that are lining up. But it also feels like it's been a very long week. So that's been my week. Does anybody else have words to share for their week? I also had tiring, fulfilling, and happy. Yes, I love that. That's like I shouldn't say I love it as in I love that it was tiring, but like it's so real. Like most of our weeks aren't perfect. It's okay to realize that there are ups and downs, and that's okay. That's part of life. So tiring, fulfilling, and happy. I can relate to that. 3 words: overwhelming, busy, and good. Yes, very much the same idea. And I'm glad, like we don't always have to have 3 positive words in there for our week, but I like that here we all seem to have at least 1 positive word in there, so that's nice. I work at a college, so mine are hectic, stressful, and copy. I love that. I'm sorry about the stressful part, but that's fun. What do you do at the college, if you don't mind sharing? Yeah. Life is great. I love that. Or is that live? I think that was supposed to be live. So yeah, we only have a couple more minutes left, but I had written a couple things down for thoughts that have been life. Okay, yes. Busy, excited, and scared, but kind of the good scared. Yes. I love that, Megan. I can also, I feel like that's a lot of my weeks maybe. But I'm guessing scared might be kind of related to a launch happening that's really exciting. So I'm super excited about, which if you don't know, today's the last day for enrollment in Megan's design course. It's idea to pattern. If you get my emails, you got an email about it today. But yes, that's so fun. And also, if you don't already follow Megan, Pip Pin, check her out. Okay, so I was saying I had written some notes about thoughts that have been on my mind, and I might have already shared all of them. But I thought it might just kind of be fun to share some of the things I've been thinking about. Part of that is that it's okay to take things slow. I kind of talked about that before, like with my knitting, but also in business, like it's easy to feel like we have to rush to get the next thing done and have a whole to-do list and get, like, it just feels like it's a constant, we need to be rushing to the next point kind of thing. And what I've been thinking about is kind of like, is that actually the way it needs to be? Is that actually helping us? Or is it just making us stressed and overwhelmed and frustrated and even leading to burnout and things like that? So my philosophy for the present time is that it's okay to take things slow. We don't have to be rushing to the next thing all the time, because there's always going to be a next thing. And part of that also was thinking about all of this planning and stuff for the new year. It's okay if you don't have everything planned out right now. There's still 11 and a half months left right now. And if you don't get all of your plans figured out until October, plans are going to change anyway. So, well, especially for business, I do think planning and goal setting is really helpful. I don't think there needs to be all of the pressure on it that we put on ourselves. So if you don't have time to plan until February, that's probably okay. I'm also very much of the mind that, listen to what your body needs, pay attention to what's bringing you joy, pay attention to when you need to take breaks and slow down. So I could also just very much be in a season where taking things slower is important for me. It's another thing I talk about a lot is seasons. And then I had one other note. Sometimes when we see all of this stuff on the internet, we can get overwhelmed by thinking of all of the things we think we should do or we need to do or would be helpful for us to do. The thing that prompted this was Jolie Kelly has opened doors to the Learn to Tech Edit course. And I noticed when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, maybe I should do that. Like I could be a good tech editor, because I've had this thought several different times. I could tech edit, but then it's like, what? There's really not, that's not where I'm at in my life right now. That's not what I want to be doing. I'm loving where I'm at. So why would I be tempted to take this course that I don't even want? So I was just thinking, trying to maybe hopefully encourage folks that if you're feeling like you have to be chasing what everybody else is doing, you don't have to. Just do what's right for you for right now. Pay attention to that. I think that's something that I've learned a ton about just in the 3 years I've been doing this business, is really paying attention to what is good for me. So just starting to gauge what feels good and what doesn't feel good and stuff like that. One more comment before I hop off. Accreditation and institutional research effectiveness. The scary stuff no one else enjoys. Well, it sounds like you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. That's fun. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. This was a lot of fun. I hope maybe you got more knitting done than me if you wanted to. Maybe you just sat and listened to me while I just sat and talked. Thanks so much for commenting and for sharing this time with me. I really did enjoy it. You do you, Vicky Howell saying. Yes. And maybe I'll see you again next week. Same time. And I wanted to leave with reminding you that you enjoyed this. Thanks so much, Lucy. I enjoyed it too. I think I will save the replay if anybody wants to watch it nice to see you too, Megan. I wish so much that, like, just so many people I wish I could actually see in person and actually have this conversation, like, in a living room right next to each other, knitting. Yes. So, side story. We can't end without another side tangent, right? My good friend Rachel at 6 and 7 Fiber is who kind of got me. I blame her for getting me into designing. She was dyeing yarn. I met her as an in real life friend before I knew she was a dyer. She kind of introduced me into the whole world of hand-dyed yarn and then this whole online knitting community thingy. And then once I started talking about starting an Etsy shop and then designing, she was really a big supporter. Anyway, she was a big fan of Megan at Pip Pin. And so that's kind of how I was introduced to you, Megan. So that's kind of fun. FYI, I know you know who Rachel is because I know you design with her yarn. So I love meeting you too, TLC Knits. I'm glad you're around, and thanks. I'm glad all of you are around. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for being friends. I did want to leave you with reminding you that you're on your journey and enjoy it. I love hugs, so I'm sending hugs to all of you and hope you have a wonderful weekend. And why is it so hard to say goodbye? I hate goodbyes, but I'll see you next week.